Welcome back to All Day. Joining us now, Bloomington Police Chief Booker Hodges. I know it's Booker T. Hodges. Do you prefer using the T?
Oh, no, just
or
Booker.
not?
Booker's cool.
Booker's fine. Thanks for coming in here. Appreciate it. Yesterday you had a news conference, again, talking about Operation Creep. The arrest of 16 individuals in an undercover sex sting. Is this similar to the effort from earlier this year that we covered extensively too, with the arrest at that point of what was a sitting state senator? Is this part of that ongoing operation? Is this something different?
No, it's the same deal. We'll keep running these operations, essentially trying to protect our kids from people who want to go out here and do stuff to them that we can't allow to have happen. So it's the same type of operation that we do.
Yeah, and the operation is interesting because, you know, people know that this might be happening in where you have undercover officers presenting themselves very clearly as 17, even though they're not. But I mean, they're identifying themselves as I'm 17 years old. And I think some of the folks maybe contest, well, they didn't look 17 or et cetera. But I mean, this is part of the approach, is to very clearly make that part of that conversation.
Yeah, and these folks know what they're doing. I mean, every single one of them is told it's a 17-year-old person that they're coming after. And in a lot of cases, these folks will admit that they know it's wrong. They don't want to get caught, so they know what they're doing when they come looking for a 17-year-old kid.
And 16 people in this recent, including some an employee of, I believe, a civilian employee of Homeland Security and somebody with Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. You see kind of can you describe, I mean, the folks that you're arresting kind of run the gamut across society?
Yeah, it's all walks, unfortunately, of human society. So yeah, I don't understand it, and I guess if I understand it, I'd have to quit, but I don't get it, man. I don't.
And you used, you called it Operation Creep.
Yeah.
You played then a snippet from the Radiohead song, I'm a Creep.
Yeah.
You're known for your kind of colorful flair in news conferences, where you hold up jumpsuits, etc. You ever get any pushback from anybody, whether you work with or in the city, other police departments, saying, hey, Booker, maybe tone it down a little bit, maybe that was a little too much?
No, I haven't. I'm pretty sure there's some people out there that don't like it, but the good thing about it is you don't like it, just don't watch it. I mean, that's my feeling for it. And for me, I'd rather have people pay attention to something versus just click through it and not go about their day without actually paying attention to it. So
yeah, what gave you the idea when you introduced those sort of elements? I mean, I think of a news conference where I was at with you recently, where it was around Christmas time, and you said, they're not wearing a Santa suit, they're going to be wearing orange, and I mean, again, it is very attention-getting, entertaining, I guess. Why?
So I think it's so people pay attention to it, right? And I still like to have fun too.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, a lot of times for me, it ultimately comes down to when you watch a lot of these government or police press conferences, it's boring. It's talking about language that people don't understand.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't really connect with the community as opposed to just talking straight talk, right? And I think talking straight talk and that and a little bit of attention getting things in there, I think really helps connect with folks.
Have you heard feedback from people then that say, hey, that does help?
Yeah, all the time. All the time people walk up to me and they're glad we're doing it. They're glad that they feel like they know what's going on, and it's good to hear somebody actually talking in plain talk versus law enforcement jargon. And I say all the time, I got a doctorate degree. That doesn't make me smarter than anybody else. So, but if I needed to, I could, use vernacular or be very verbose and loquacious if I wanted to. But I just choose to talk like I normally talk.
Anything else you want to add about Operation Creep before we move on to another subject?
Yeah, I just think you got to watch your kids out there, and if you look at a lot of these videos, when you watch, and that's why we put the drone footage out there, these are grown people that are showing up in the middle of the day believing they're going to have sex with a 17-year-old kid. I mean, just think about that. For those of you who got kids out there, you're gone at work or wherever, and these dudes are going to show up to your house to have sex with your kid. It's unbelievable. So watch your kids, online.
You've had partners in some of the previous things where other groups work with you in this one as well?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We just had BCA, Richfield Police Department, Roseville, and the airport. I don't want to forget anybody, but in Eden Prairie, yes, that's who all worked with us on this one.
Okay. Recently, and I watched your YouTube video of this. You know, you're very trying to approach people, trying to be transparent, clarity about your visit to the southern border and what you saw there in terms of the fence, in terms of we saw a tunnel, etc. But then people wonder, why is the police chief from Bloomington, Minnesota, going to the southern border? How did that happen?
Yeah, so I went down as part of North Central HIDA, which is Minnesota and Wisconsin.
HIDA?
Yes, High Intensity Drug Trafficking Initiative.
Okay.
So it wasn't just me. We had a bunch of police chiefs and a bunch of sheriffs that went down to visit the border and connect with the HIDA down there in San Diego.
But again, why do police chiefs from this region? How does that? What's the purpose there professionally for you then to visit the other side of the country? How does that help you do your work here?
Oh, 100%. So we do a lot of work with the airport here, and we have a lot of drug trafficking and human trafficking activity that comes from the southwest border that comes directly to Minnesota. So for us to look at the tactics that these people are using, so like looking at the vehicle scanners they use to do the x-rays, to see the types of tactics that they're using to transport drugs and people, it was a very valuable trip for all of us to go down there. And I think the public doesn't see a lot of the interconnectivity between certain parts of the country and Minnesota, but we are a hub here, and I think it's been publicly stated that our airport has more cash leaving MSP a day than any other airport in the country.
Really?
Yeah.
I know part of your trip, I mean, you said you showed your vision of, what you could see of the wall, the border wall. You did explicitly state that this is about looking at drug trafficking and human trafficking. It wasn't necessarily about illegal immigration, but it's the criminal components of that.
Yes.
First of all, we'll talk about the wall, and you pointed out that there is a freeway being built right on the other side of the wall, and your questions about, wow, what is that going to do in terms of making it easier to get over that wall? What you see?
Yeah, so it was, and again, I said about the geopolitical politics, actually see that up front, right? So, you hear locally, we're building this big wall. Okay, well, what does that mean? What is that going to do? And when you go down there and you see that the government of Mexico is building this highway right along the wall, it's like, okay, right? You've accomplished the goal of not allowing people to, in theory, come through there, which is going to lessen the amount of human trafficking and drug trafficking. But the ingenuity of building, they're a sovereign nation too, right? So they get to build this.
They can do what they want.
So they're building a highway that goes right along the wall.
And your immediate question was, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
You also showed some, I believe it was some vehicles, and then there was a manhole cover on the U.S. side of the border, which looks like a typical sewer manhole, etc., but then went right to a tunnel.
Yeah.
What did you? How big of a tunnel? What did you see there?
So you went down, and the sophistication of these people to dig these underground tunnels, I think a lot of times we don't see in Minnesota. So you go in, and it's a tunnel that goes, it's probably football field's length from the American side to the Mexican side of the border, and it had electricity in it. So,
really?
You could drive across, not drive across, but they could run a cart, or people could crawl through it.
Wow.
Yeah. No, and that's, I think, we don't make these drugs in Minnesota, right? And I think that's my message and why we went down there as a HIDA. We don't make these drugs in Minnesota. They're getting here somehow. So what do we need to do to continue to try to stop that?
And so your visit to the southern border is specifically to look at the ways that these drugs are being trafficked into the U.S. and ultimately winding up here in your jurisdiction.
And the tactics they're using to detect them. And I'm not going to get into all the tactics that they use to detect drugs that are transported, but I did put a semi-trailer on there. And how many semis do you see rolling down the street here in Minnesota? On
quite a few.
Yeah,
I mean, all over the place.
Yeah.
Wow, very interesting.
Yep.
You have taken there was a social media break.
Yeah.
a little time off, and which begs the question: well, what? Just to detoxify out of the mind, or what? Because you're very active in your department, and is part of that need to communicate, to be transparent, and to plain speak, to very much. Why take a break?
So, those of us in law enforcement, we have to deal with the aftermath of a lot of things that takes place on social media.
Yeah.
So, urban street violence, right? If you look at a lot of these kids, they're out here in our streets in Minnesota killing each other, starts on social media, right? The Annunciation shooting, where the suspect's manifesto was plastered all over the internet. And could you imagine just being one of those parents who your kid just got killed, and you get to watch the person that killed them, their whole, exactly what they wanted to have happen.
It shows up very quickly, very quickly.
And then, Charlie Kirk, getting assassinated and just playing over and over again. So it's like, okay, we need to take a step back here for like 30 days, take a break. And then also, it shows that people are a lot more happy when they're not on social media versus when they are. So let's just take a step back for 30 days and, let's go be with your family for a little bit. And that's the message I gave to the department too, and the message that I've done for myself too. And it's just like, we have to, I get free speech, right? I get it, it's the United States of America, but we have to have some decency when we're not putting this stuff on.
Well, with any tool, and social media is a tool, there's good and bad. I mean, there's some very positive things that can happen, but with that comes a lot of pretty negative things that can happen. And mental health concerns from what you see. Mental
health, I mean, the generations that have grown up strictly using social media, you can see there's a distinct difference between their mental health and those of us that, I'd say the 2-foot generation, 1 foot in digital, 1 foot in analog. There's a distinct difference there, and a lot of that can be attributed to social media. And, just think about what it's doing to this country. It's tearing us apart, in my opinion. And even, look in the media business with you all, right? I asked the question, why even do sweeps weeks anymore when you got social media out there, right? And how it's affected you guys' job too, because it's unregulated.
There's a lot of, again, a lot of components to that social media where again, there's so many things that can be accomplished. It allows you to speak directly to people instead of hoping that we attend a news conference. But then it can be misused in so many ways as well, and that's a problem that. Who knows what the solution for that will be. All right, anything else going on in the city of Bloomington you want to talk about before we wrap up?
No, we're doing pretty good. Crime is low. Our citizens are doing good.
So the numbers, the statistics are showing a drop?
Yeah, we're down 12% from last year, and last year was low. So if it holds, and I realize saying crime is low as the chief, if you just got robbed or something, you're like, I don't care what you say. So I acknowledge that part, but crime is down in our city.
That's good. What do you attribute that to, besides your good police work?
No, the citizens, right? I mean, I think ultimately when the citizens decide, they're going to follow the law, rules, and regulations, this is what you get. Because we deter crime. We do not prevent it, right? And I know chiefs are going to get mad at me for saying that. We deter it. We don't prevent it. When people decide that they're going to follow the laws, this is what you get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Booker, always good to see you.
You too, man.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you coming in here. Hopefully, you're close by.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to